Hey, sports fans, PB&Z Sports Chaos. And it's a little bit of an off week because it's the week between the Super Bowl and the conference champions. We'll give some parting shots on the conference championships in a minute. I got to ask you, first of all, I'm holding the ball here, PB, because I've been watching the Pro Bowl highlights all morning long. Do you like the whole new Pro Bowl thing? It's been a couple of years now that they've done this. Are you good with the games and flag football? What do you think?
It's different. It's interesting. It doesn't matter. You just want people to have fun at that thing. I mean, it doesn't mean anything. So just let the best players that get selected go down there and have a good time and not have to worry about, really getting hurt or anything like that. Just go and have fun. I
By
like
the
it.
way,
It's
Baker Mayfield showed out in the quarterback contest, huh?
oh yeah. Yeah,
He,
yeah. He was
I love Baker. He's got ball skills. And by the way, I'm going to make a bold prediction right now about Baker. He's obviously going to get renewed at Tampa Bay, but Baker Mayfield could win a Super Bowl with this Dallas Cowboys team. Dak Prescott cannot. That's my opinion.
You think Baker's gonna end up with Dallas?
No, I don't think so. But I'm just saying he's the type of guy that could lead them to a Super Bowl title. That team, that Cowboys team, I don't think Dak Prescott ever gets a sniff of the Super Bowl. I just don't think he's
Yeah.
that quarterback.
Wow. Interesting. Interesting. But yeah, some of the competitions were cool. I saw Baker. He beat out CJ Stroud actually, right? In the finals for that competition.
He did, yeah, yeah.
And then they just had different, they're doing like closest to the pin. They had like some other fun things in there. They did like acrobatic catches and like
Yep.
Njoku was coming off of like a trapeze swing and doing a flip. And I mean, you had Puka out on a freaking boogie board or whatever, getting pulled
That
around.
was wild. That was wild. Yes, it was, man. That was really wild.
So I think it's fun. It's fun. It's entertaining. It's
I'll tell you
entertaining.
what's pretty cool was the long snap competition.
Yeah, I saw that too.
First of all, the regular centers, they're snapping the ball to a target. It's about the distance from a punter to a snapper. So it's not really fair for those guys who don't do long snapping. Kelsey hit the 5 hole, but he didn't win. What was interesting was the long snapper there. I forget his name. The kid
He
from
got 0 points.
yeah. But
But he was
those are bullets. Those
Oh,
are bullets.
that's what I was gonna say. He was hiking darts. You could compare. I mean, the other guys are still NFL players, right? And they still play an offensive line position, but it's amazing. And they snap it to a shotgun.
Yeah.
But it's amazing the difference. Like their balls are like wobbling back there, and that long snapper was just throwing darts.
I'd like to see that next year as a home run contest. Let the long snapper snap the ball and just see if anybody can hit the ball, like 40 feet away, line the batter up.
That was like CJ Stroud and Baker throwing forwards.
Yeah.
Right?
Man, it was,
Oh,
yeah. So I guess
yeah.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. By the way, Baker's much cooler than his brother Eli. How Eli ever won 2 Super Bowls against us, still to this day. I think I'll die and I'll always hate that for the rest of my life.
Yeah. They actually didn't they make a comment about that too at some point during there? I think they said something.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's talk. So all the coaches have been finally hired. Dan Quinn did get hired. Remember last week I said, who will be the first to be fired? And I said, well, I forget who I picked, but I said, but if Dan Quinn gets hired, it's Dan Quinn. So that's my bet. Dan Quinn gets hired. But before I go to this one, the other guy is Mike McDonald from the Baltimore Ravens, went to the Seahawks. I think Mike's kind of choked in the last game. I think the Baltimore defense laid an egg. How'd they leave Travis Kelce open all day long? We'll talk about that when we talk about parting shots of last week's game. So I'm a little leery of Mike McDonald as a head coach. Let's talk about some of the assistant coaches that get hired. Alex Van Pelt goes to the Pats as the OC. Former quarterback, 9 years in the NFL, been coaching for a long time. I didn't realize this. Even though he was an OC, he's never actually called the plays. Any of his jobs as an OC.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, so he's going to have to call plays. I'm okay with that. I've read a lot of interviews about quarterbacks that were on his team, and they love the guy. They absolutely love the guy when he was their quarterback coach. I think it's a great fit. The only problem is I don't think he turns Mac Jones around, do you?
Well, yeah, that's interesting you say that because I was reading something this morning that talked about the Patriots might not draft a quarterback at 3. I think that would be a big mistake. If they try to build around Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi and hire, draft an offensive lineman or another, player piece, like maybe you can get Marvin Harrison Jr. probably at number 3. But
You
I don't
easily should get him there. Yeah, you could.
Yeah, I just think they should go. You could probably get a. I don't know how high Bowers is going to go in this draft, but um, I I don't know. I just think that they need to get a new quarterback. I think if they don't focus on getting a franchise quarterback in there, someone who can come in and make like a Jaden Daniels or someone like that, I think it's a wrong pick, and it's not going to matter. None of that's going to matter about Collins.
I think May and Daniels are too high at 3. So can you move down 6 slots, maybe 5 slots, get another number 1 and still get May or Daniels? Then that's a good move.
Right, as long as you're willing, if Mayor Daniels is off the board, to get like a Penix or a Nix or something like that.
I'm okay with Penix. I know there's a lot of question marks about his injuriness, his injury being injury prone, I should say. The guy can throw the ball. He can absolutely throw a ball. He's unbelievable. I wouldn't mind him one bit. So if you move down and got him, let's put it this way. Remember when we got Mac at 15, and the year before, around November, I said, the ideal quarterback for the Pats, don't trade up. If you're at 15, take Mac Jones. They did. Now it looks bad because he got butchered by Patricia and Judge. But
Yeah.
if you could get that kid, right, that you just mentioned at 13 or 14, Michael Penix, that's an outstanding draft by moving down.
Yeah. Yep. And you got other guys like Bo Nix that could be around there. You got JJ McCarthy that could be around there. There's other players you have to be willing to say, hey, we could fit with one of those pieces in with, like you said, a premier either receiver or lineman or, edge rusher or whatever you want to grab up at a higher pick. But
yeah,
I don't know. But yeah, you could probably give up the 3 and, like you said, get like a 6 or 7 or I don't know.
Let me put this one. Let me give you a scenario. We'll talk a little more about this later, but let me give you one little scenario before we move on to the coaches that other coaches. Justin Fields, would you take the bait? Would you trade Justin Fields for Justin Fields with the number 3?
Yeah, I'd probably. I mean, what you're getting with Justin Fields. Versus the unknown.
I 100% agree. I 100% agree.
Yeah, I'd probably do it.
Because it's looking more and more like he's not going to stay, and they're going to draft Caleb with number 1, right?
Yeah, imagine that. Imagine they would have the 1, they would have the 3 if they traded Fields, and don't they have another pick, like the 9th or 10th pick too, or something?
Yeah, they got the 3rd. They have to take Marvin Harrison at that point, right? Then they would be loaded for beer. No pun intended. Hey, the other coaching news was Vegas went out and got Cliff Kingsbury to be the OC. I don't think Cliff's a head coach by any means. He showed that at Carolina. As an OC, though.
Arizona, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, at Arizona, right? Wasn't Kingsbury the
head coach? He was Arizona head coach, and he coached Texas Tech for a few years, right?
Yeah.
So I think he's a decent head coach, but I think he's better as an offensive coordinator. That's the right move. Now, Vegas has to get a quarterback as well. They're not going to win with Aiden O'Donnell. Is that his name, I believe?
O'Connell.
Maybe he could, save Jimmy G. I'm still a Jimmy G guy. You can win with Jimmy G in my mind if you have talent around him. But if he has to stay healthy, right? The other cool move was they went out, Antonio Pierce, first-time head coach. I know he was the intern for half a year. They get Marvin Lewis as the assistant head coach, the sage veteran, NFL experience with the Bengals for a number of years. That's a pretty good move, don't you think?
Yeah. And like you said, they got the talent. Their defense has shown that they can step up, and they were one of the top defenses in the league in the stretch down the end of the year.
Vegas could surprise in that NFC that AFC West next year, I think.
Yeah, but like I said, they really need to go out and get themselves a quarterback, I think.
Well, if they get another stud receiver, I'm okay with the receivers they have. The tight end came on towards the end of the year. The kid from Notre Dame, Mike Mayer. I love my boy Jacoby Myers. I think they have some talent there. What do you think
happens with Jacobs? Do you think they re-sign Jacobs, or do you think Zamir White emerges as their lead back next year?
Running backs, unfortunately, don't get signed to a new contract. That sucks for them, right? But they need him. If they could save him, possibly they'd be okay in that particular case. Let's go on to the other big news. What's happening with college football? Jeff Hadley, the coach of my Boston College Eagles, just suddenly ups and leaves to take a coordinator role in the NFL for the Green Bay Packers. By the way, they made his bones as a defensive guy. He coached in the NFL as an assistant a number of years. As a defensive coach, went to Ohio State to be the coordinator, and then he came over here to BC. But between the news of him leaving, and now there's a big rumor out there today, Chip Kelly, the inventor of the spread offense, according to him, head coach of UCLA. UCLA, now I can see leaving BC, but UCLA, he may leave to become not only the coordinator for Dan Quinn under the Commanders. And obviously we saw Saban retire for no reason other than he said, I'm done with this crap, which is NIL and transfer portal. Is college football in trouble right now?
Right. And then not to mention Harbaugh leaving and taking the job, right, with the
He just won
Chargers.
a title, right? And he had a lot of talent coming back, correct, PB?
Yeah. And he could have been the highest paid coach in college football.
Yes. So what's happening?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's the $1 million question right there.
First of all, we talked about this a couple weeks back. Transfer portal. You can't have free agency while the season's still going on. No other sport does that in the professional ranks. You can't have that. NIL, there's got to be some licensing. There's got to be something around that, whether there's disclosures about who just got a contract with what company, whatever it is. It's got to be out there because some of these things I'm sure are a little bit shady. And oh, by the way, the other thing we talked about, and I'm going to hop on this forever. You don't get your final check unless you play the last game of the year. If it's a bowl game, you got to play or you don't get a check, right? Move on.
Good one.
All right. Coaches that didn't get hired. This is a good one, PB. We know who they are. Belichick, Pete, and Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
Pete and Bill are in the 70s, right? Mike's still a relatively young guy. I think he's only in his late 40s, if I'm not mistaken. What happens to all these guys are winning coaches? Pete's won a Super Bowl. He's one of 3 guys to win a national championship in the NCAA, and now one in Super Bowl. And then Belichick, of course, is the GOAT, right? So, yeah. Is it possible they never coach again?
I would say for Belichick and Carroll, just because they're in their 70s, what are they, 71, 72? You got to wait another year. 72, 73. I mean, I just don't know if that's what the direction some of these owners are looking for, those kind of guys right now. So unfortunately, they may not. I think they'd be better off as a, sitting behind a desk and on one of these pregame shows or something, as an analyst. I think that'd probably be a better direction for one of those guys. But Vrabel, on the other hand, I think he's a good coach. I think he'll get a job eventually.
That's why this is a shock in my mind. That's why this is a huge shock.
Yeah. I thought he would land in maybe even the Chargers. He'll get a job. He'll get a job in the next year or two.
So what do you think about this one little possibility? Mike Vrabel's son was an offensive tackle at BC. I don't know if his time is up yet. I think he still has a little more eligibility because of COVID. Could possibly his son go back to BC if his dad comes and becomes the head coach?
That would be interesting.
Wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be? Mike Vrabel, coach of Boston College. I'm promoting it right now. I'm going to get it out there. We'll see.
All
right. Let's go on. Let's real quick. Last week's games. You picked both winners. You did pick Kansas City to upset Baltimore. And, of course, all of us picked San Fran. The San Fran game was interesting, right?
I mean, you could call that a garbage touchdown on the end. Me and you had San Fran laying the 7.5, which we would have won if Detroit didn't, come down and score at the end there.
But the bigger thing to me, PB, was that they were losing by 17 at halftime. If that happens next week, San Fran goes in 17 down at halftime, they are not winning that game, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the one thing I said, that Detroit was susceptible on defense, and the San Francisco should be able to score on them. So I wasn't even worried myself watching the game when it was 17-0 or 20, whatever it was at halftime. I knew San Francisco would come back in that game. I just, had the feeling. Now, to your point, they do that against Kansas City. There's no way. Kansas City's defense was legit, absolutely legit in that game.
Yeah. I will also say Baltimore, in my opinion, kind of beat themselves. You can't have all the penalties they had. And Zay Flowers, my BC guy, say you can't friggin', push the guy in the chest after making a great catch and then spike the ball at his feet. You're going to get that call every time. And by the way, I heard a bozo after the game. I was at gymnastics, as you know, and he says Zay Flowers made a bonehead move trying to be a hero, diving into the end zone. That's what you're paid to do. It was a great defensive play by the cornerback there. I forget his name now. The guy he punched.
It was Snead.
Yeah. That's the move you're gonna make. It was a great play by Steve to punch it out, right?
Yep.
Someone said
Yeah.
you don't go down after that catch.
100%. The bonehead move was the taunting call. That was a bonehead move, right?
And
Totally.
by the way, if the ball doesn't get penched out, they win the game, in my opinion.
They would have had first and goal at the 9-yard line or something like that if they didn't call that. And instead, they still worked it down. It was the same drive that they made the play to Zay, and he was trying to go. But give credit to Kansas City's defense because they created the strip sack turnover on Lamar earlier.
Although they got no points out of that. Don't forget, they got no points out of that.
Right, they didn't, but still, it was a great play, right? And that was number because they went for down. They turned it over on downs later on, like inside the 10 or 20 or something.
Right. They tried to run Pacheco, and it was a great tackle by the safety.
Yeah, but that number 90, I can't think of his name right now. Opposite, Chris Jones as a pass rusher, he's a beast. And then, so that was a great play. And then the strip of Zay Flowers. That was a ball hawking move.
Yep.
They right in, punch off.
He's in for a touchdown. He's clearly in. His head's over the goal line. The ball just has to follow with him, but it didn't come all the way.
Right. The ball was at the half-yard line. It clearly came out. So, you got to give credit to the defense for playing that way. And you got to, Kansas City, I predicted that score, by the way. I said 2013, a 7-point win. It was 17-10. I was off by 3 points on both sides.
You did. Kudos to you.
Yeah. Low scoring, So how does that translate to what we're going to see next Sunday?
I will tell you this. We just said a minute ago. San Fran, don't go down by 17 in the first half. And by the way, don't leave Travis Kelce open for 10 catches or whatever it was in the first half. He finished with 11 for the game, but he had like 9 in the first half when he was wide open half the game, and he made 2 great plays. One for the touchdown. That was a great play. There was great coverage by Kai, who was one of the better safeties in the league. And then the one where, first of all, Pat made an unbelievable play, rolling out, diving, and then Kelce made that catch. Well, I think it was a 3rd or 4th down conversion, right, on that drive.
Oh, yeah. It was a great catch.
So it was, to me, here's what I think. So San Fran showed some vulnerability because Detroit exposed them, especially with their run game. And Pacheco can run the ball hard, right, at the end of the day. So if I'm a San Fran fan, I'd be concerned. And as far as KC goes, the only thing is if they take away Travis, then they'll be in trouble, right? San Fran, you got to take away Travis. Don't you agree?
I agree, 100%. Yep. I think it'll be, again, probably a lower scoring Super Bowl than people are probably wanting or hoping for. But we're going to do that next week's show.
We will. Yeah, we will.
Anybody know? Yeah.
Hey, by the way, we talked about Pro Bowl real quick. Are you going to watch the NHL All-Star games? I guess it is today.
Oh yeah, because they have like a little bracket and they play the different divisions or whatever. I might throw it on. We got an event we're going to at 5, and then we're going out tonight. So I'll see how the afternoon goes. But what time does that start? 2 or 3
o'clock. 3 o'clock the first one, and I think 4 o'clock the second one.
Yeah, I might watch it while I'm getting ready or later or whatever. But
Okay. Well, go Pasternak. Have a good show. All right, man. I'll talk to you later. Take care.
All right, Super Bowl show next week.
Super Bowl. You got it.